All right, so now we're going to go on to the second emotional need. The second one I call follow me. And follow me is where now you've been watching me, but now you're going to get up and you're going to join me. You're going to join me in my exploration. You're going to delight in my exploration. And we're going to you're going to take interest in my interests. So this is like, think about your child at the playground and they're with you, and then they get up and you're watching them. They go, Mommy, watch me, and you're watching. And then all of a sudden you feel urged to get up and join them. So you're playing on the playground, you're going on adventures with them. And in this emotional need, you're taking interest in their interests. A lot of times people will stop with the other interests if it's not their interests. So if it's their interest, they'll go do it. But if it's not their interest, then they won't. So you'll see this with a child that says, Daddy, come play dolls with me. And the parents are like, I'm not playing with dolls. And they don't want to do that. But then they'll want to go out and play ball, toss a ball. And so with this, we are putting our interests aside and we're taking in the interests of our loved one because we're entering into their world. In an adult relationship, you might have a friend or a partner that says, I want to go skydiving. And you think, until hell freezes over, am I going skydiving? So you might not go with them. But you say, but you know what? If you want to do this, I support you. Let's check this out. And so you research it. You find out different ways or places that people could go skydiving. And then maybe you go with them that day and you're on the ground and you watch when they land and you're there to run in and celebrate them. Or they have a friend running a race and you wait at the finish line for them. You are there participating in their interests, delighting in it, and celebrating it with them. Most of us, though, didn't have that. And so when that happens, it hurts, it's painful. Often I'll hear people who get ready to do a race. That's very important to them. They've never done a race before. It's a big challenge. And when they get to the finish line, they see all their loved ones and their family, with their family and friends celebrating, but nobody was there for them. And it just is sad. It just is a letdown, like, oh, no one's here to have this moment with me that I can rejoice and with them, share it with them, and so forth. So here, we may not be interested in somebody else's event or activity, but because we love them, we're stepping in it with them. And we're saying, yes, let me know about this. Now, when we're reparenting ourselves, we're paying attention to the interests we have inside. And we're kind of going on a search and rescue mission where we're bringing out those interests and we're not denying them anymore. So a lot of times people might have a parent that says, well, you're not doing art, that's stupid, or no child of mine's going to do this thing. And so that dream that you had, that interest you had was shut down. And then we deny ourselves, we grow up, and then maybe we see somebody who's doing art and we're like, oh, like a little part of us is like, oh, I've always wanted to do that. And you're like, I don't have time for that, stupid. I can't even draw anyways. Why am I dreaming like that? And so when that happens, we want to change that and take that voice that we've internalized from our development, our history, and heal it and begin to say, if I want to do this, then you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to take an art class. I'm going to explore this. I'm not going to deny this from myself anymore. And that's how the adult in us that's leading can take good care of our inner child and the parts of us that were wounded and were not allowed to express themselves in healthy and appropriate ways. So if you have an interest and you want to tell your friends and your family and you would love for somebody to be there with you, then go ahead and let them know. Because it feels really good when a friend goes to you and says, I'm doing this race and it just be really meaningful to me if you're there. It's like, really? It makes you feel special because deep down we're hardwired to have these needs. So we recognize it on a subconscious level. Our bodies respond really well. Like, I want to do that. And we know that we're investing in that relationship. We're building it. We're strengthening it because we're having experiences together now. And this is good. But again, When you look at that, think about, did my family follow my interests? Were they involved? Were they there? When I said I wanted to go take this, my father told me a story that when he was little, he wanted to learn surfing. And his mother, my grandma, who was a teacher, she had 5 boys, and so she was very busy. And you would think that she wouldn't have gone and done the surfing thing. But she went after school, drove him to the place where he was going surfing, and watched him and participated in that interest. And that really moved me that she did that. Because to me, it was a very loving act to do, because I knew, according to this, she was following his interest. And that was a very connective moment between a parent and a child. So how was that for you? Did people follow your interests? Or did you have to do what they wanted you to do? You had to enter their interests if you want to have any relationship with them. Sometimes I hear stories like, I had a parent that was so into sports, and I had other interests. I wanted to learn music. But if I wanted to spend time with my father, the only way I could is if I did sports with him, because he wouldn't do music. He wouldn't go to music events. He wouldn't listen to my music. So I had to do what he wanted for us to be in relationship. And that wounds us. And so then you become an adult, you have an interest, and your partner or friend says, well, I'm not interested in that. And then you get triggered, you get mad, you feel that they're not paying attention to you, they're not loving you, you're not important to them. And that is a hidden, unresolved wound from your developmental history that is being projected onto the current moment. So we want to release them from that unenforceable contract, and instead we want to tell them, this is really meaningful to me, even though it's not important to you. If you were to do this to me, it would just feel so connective and like you're very relational. I'd really appreciate it. And then if they do it, great. And if they don't, well, then you have to look at pros and cons. Not everybody does all of these emotional needs, and some people are unwilling to do all of them. It doesn't mean we're abandoned, because we're now adults, and we cannot be abandoned if we're not abandoning ourselves. As children, we could be abandoned because we needed to outsource that to the adults. But as adults, we don't need to outsource that. We are now here. So this is something that we're healing and correcting, is this idea that I am reliant on the outside world to do it right for me to be okay. That's how it was as a child. But as an adult, it's different. And so, and you'll hear me talk about this in emotional sobriety work. So how is that for you? Follow me. Did your family do that? Did they offer it to you? Do you follow the interests of other people? Do you step into their world and delight in what they're excited about? Or do you ignore it and dismiss it until it's something that you're interested in? Explore that. If that was something that you were not allowed to have, or you were denied, then that light switch gets turned off, and that becomes a trigger point for you. If it was something that your family did really well, you're very comfortable in it, you naturally do this with your loved ones, then this is an emotional need that you're very comfortable with. So now let's go on to the next one.